everyone and welcome to Express Drives. My name is Arushi Rawat and in my opinion, Tata has taken on this unsaid responsibility to not ride but lead the EV revolution in India. And with that, we have the latest iteration, the Tata Nexon EV Max with us here today. It's largely a better and improved version of the standard Nexon EV. Why? Because it gets a bigger 40.5 kilowatt-hour battery and an improved mileage of 437 kilometers on a single charge. But the million-dollar question still remains. Can it take on your petrol and diesel-powered vehicles? Can it take your family on a long trip that you've always dreamed of? And can it be your primary vehicle? Well, we find that out today. Now before we move any further, let's get the basics out of the way. What is in the exterior that sets these siblings apart? Well, to be honest, just two things. First is this exclusive Intensity teal paint shade, and the second are these 5-spoked alloy wheels that are new with the EV Max. But apart from this, the design largely remains the same. The blacked out front, the blue accents, everything is the same.
It gets the same pair of projector headlamps with LED DRLs that double up as turn indicators. The front grille is the same, with the tri-arrow design element. Moving to the rear, the same Union Jack-like clear tail lamps feature with LED elements. The Nexon EV Max comes with a 40.5 kilowatt battery pack, which is around 10 kilowatt-hour more than the standard Nexon EV. Despite the bigger battery pack, there is no change in the boot capacity, and the Nexon EV Max continues to have the same 350-litre boot as the regular Nexon EV.
Coming to the interior, the standard Nexon EV and the Nexon EV Max largely get the same interior except this exclusive Macrana beige interior that is not offered in the standard Nexon EV. Apart from that, it gets a new dual rotary design with active mode display. It also gets a wireless charger, buttons for the auto hold and the adaptive regenerative braking. We'll get to that later. It also gets a power socket. The only problem is that reaching it might be a problem at times. It also gets a 12V socket, and apart from that, controls for the AC vent and hill descent. The Nexon EV Max also gets front ventilated seats and an air purifier. It also gets a 7-inch upgraded Z-Connect infotainment system that also gets 48 connected car features. Now if you're wondering where the cup holders, well, they are here. Space-saving feature, but only time will tell how convenient it actually is. The rear is also the same. It gets the same features or the lack of it. It does not still get a power socket here. It gets rear AC vents though. It also gets a center armrest and 2 cup holders. Still misses on the magazine holders, gets storage at the doors, and everything is largely the same. But what works for the Nexon EV Max is the color of this interior. It actually makes it look roomier, which works great for the Nexon. The Nexon EV Max is driven by a 143 HP motor and it delivers a peak torque of 250 Nm, which is around 14 HP and 5 Nm more than the standard Nexon EV. Tata is claiming a 0 to 100 sprint time of under 9 seconds. Now it's impressive because this one is heavier by 100 kilograms because of the larger battery and the additional features. But you never feel that you're driving a heavy vehicle. Rather, it's very quick at its feet. And that is when it's just in the city mode. Yes, it gets 3 drive modes. City, which is the one it automatically gets in once you start the vehicle. The second is Eco, which there is a separate button for it, and the similar is for Sport. Now if you're talking about drive modes, the claim mileage of 437 kilometers is in the Eco mode with the air conditioning off. So in the real time, somewhere around 300 to 350 is what this is actually good for. Behind the wheel, it never feels that you're never in control of this. Now if you're still hungry for more, because I was actually satisfied with the city mode, put it in Sport.
Sport drive mode activated.
And it takes the reign completely. It goes bonkers, it just turns. And it feels like it's on Red Bull, to be honest. The acceleration is great, it picks up speed, I want to thrill it even more. And 100 in Sport mode. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. The body roll is a little bit of an issue, but okay, it's fine. It can be controlled. We are on very winding roads. I am sure that if it's in a straight line, it will go really fast. And that there is your highway driving enthusiasm. If you talk about the overall driving feel, you sit nice, high and wide. The plastic quality is great. There are some cost cutting and some hard plastics around, but it's alright. The air pillar continues to be wide and a little obstructive, at least in my opinion. The Nexon EV functions well around the corners, but there is ample amount of body roll on offer. This is when I am at just 40 and I am already moving in. Although Tata claims to have retuned the suspension, the ride is pretty stiff. You feel road adulations, speed breakers and everything. But this motor loves to rev and it does that pretty silently. Only if you hear really, really well, you can hear a light whistle every time you push hard on it. Driving in city traffic is a breeze, but you have to be a little cautious because this tends to run ahead. Up on the highway, just pedal down and it takes up beautifully. And of course, the moment you step down, it affects the range like that. The Nexon EV was never a race car, and the Max isn't either. It promises to be comfortable, to be practical, to be fun, and it does that. In eco, you can get somewhere around 300-320 kilometers. I can gauge that because I started at 300 and we were somewhere middle of the city. Now we are out and it's still at 220. In sport, it's going to satiate your hunger of getting a quicker vehicle. But now let's come to the braking, because Tata, in my opinion, takes constructive criticism to the heart. The Nexon EV Max gets adaptive regenerative braking for this one with 4 levels. What it basically does is charges your battery quicker while giving you the ease of driving. You can adjust it with the button right here and you can see what level you are on. And the thing is, you can automatically feel the change in response. There is no difference in bite. It bites still hard. You brake really well. You come to a halt whenever required, but it gets easy really quickly. You do not feel the weight of the brake pushing you back once the levels are according to your wish. My one little problem with the Nexon EV Max is that the new rotary dial is not as responsive as I want it to be. I hope that I'm doing something wrong because it takes its sweet moment sometimes to just rotate and let me go to where I want to be. Okay, let's test it out. I was driving, I put on a brake, left, neutral, reverse, reverse, took a sweet moment, and back to drive.
Tata Motors is offering 2 versions of charging, a 3.3 kilowatt AC charger that is provided standard and a more powerful 7.2 kilowatt AC charger. The Nexon EV Max takes around 15 to 16 hours to fully charge with the 3.3 kilowatt AC charger, while the 7.2 kilowatt AC charger takes around 5 to 6 hours. Tata Motors claims a charging time of 56 minutes from 0 to 80% using a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger.
Now, before we get to the final report card, let me do a little price comparison between these two siblings.
The Nexon EV starts at a price tag of Rs 14.79 lakhs and goes all the way to 17.40 lakhs. The Nexon EV Max, on the other hand, starts at Rs 17.74 lakhs and goes all the way to 19.24 lakhs. All prices are ex-showroom.
But now, coming back to the million-dollar questions I asked in the beginning, can it take on the petrol and diesel-powered vehicles? Well, I think it can. Now, if you are in the market with 20 lakh rupees and you have the patience to recover the cost, as running an EV is much more cheaper than a petrol and diesel vehicle, yes, it can be your next purchase. Well, if you are in the market with a 20 lakh budget, you have to consider Nexon EV Max Plus because electric is the future and the time is now. This is capable, it's advanced, it has a long list of features and it could be your next primary vehicle. Thank you for watching this video. Do leave a comment on which feature do you think is the best on this car, and don't forget to subscribe to the Express Rise channel.